episode 3. Yes, we made it. So anyone that says this is easy and what a fun thing, it totally is, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work. So bravo to my camera crew. Already won. Today we are going to do cooking almond chicken tenderloins, and it's dinner for tonight, so that'll be great. So I went ahead and prepared some of this. I'm going to do this in different steps, so I'm going to show you the first step here. I went ahead and mixed up some gluten-free flour and some almond flour, and this is just a healthier option. In Joanna's cookbook, it does real flour, but I just thought that since we're using almond flour, I would go ahead and keep it healthy all across the board, so we'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna mix this up, and we're gonna take some garlic powder, a teaspoon, dump that in there, onion powder, a teaspoon, dump that in there, Italian seasoning, which is always great to have on hand. Seasonings, dried seasonings are really great to have on hand. Don't be afraid. Don't think that you always have to have fresh seasonings. Fresh herbs are wonderful. Fresh garlic is amazing. But when you're in a hurry and you got to get dinner ready, sometimes like doing all of that extra stuff is really hard. So I have a whole rack of spices in my cupboard of every different kind of spice you can think of. And the one rule of thumb of that is like every year you need to kind of go through it and maybe toss out the stuff that you haven't used in all the way to the bottom. You'll figure out what kind of spices that you use all the time that you love, and those are the ones that you'll always be refilling anyway. And then the last seasoning is some black pepper, and it's half a teaspoon. So that is your mix for the flour mixture, and we're just gonna swirl this around. Yes, we are back to doing finger art again. I told you, when you cook, you have to get your fingers in there and move stuff around. So this is one of those things, you're just gonna swish it around so that all the ingredients get mixed in. And then what we're gonna do is I bought some chicken tenderloins, and I just rinsed them off and put them on a paper towel and just kind of pat them. And if the paper towel gets really wet, just pull some more paper towels and just dry it up, because you don't want wet chicken to go into here. You want a dry chicken dried off, and then you're just going to what they call dredge the chicken. And that is just getting it evenly floured up. So you can see it's not really sticking a lot to it. It's just giving it a nice little coating so that when we go to cook these, it's gonna give it a nice crispy, I love crispy stuff. I like crispy tops on my biscuits. I like crispy chicken. It's just gonna give it a nice little crispy coating, but not too much where you're taking in a lot of calories. And I think that's why the almond flour is really great for this, because it's a more healthier option. And you know, in my family, we like the healthier options. So we are just going to dredge the rest of these. We're gonna start preparing a skillet, and I wanna talk to you about having really good pans when we come back, because I think that you should have different kinds of pans to cook from for different options. Okay, so we're back, and we are going to start cooking the chicken tenders. My dogs are out running around, so if you see them, yes, they're like waiting for food to drop. They're being very nice right now, so we'll see how it goes. Hi, Paisley, I see you behind me. I can feel you. So I have, oh goodness, 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of salted butter in here, and we're gonna start adding our chicken tenders. But I'm gonna see how this works. We may have to do it in 2 batches, which is fine. And I actually like that a little bit hotter. We are gonna cook these for 3 minutes on each side, and they're gonna get nice and golden brown. I think I'm gonna be able to put all of these in here at once, which is great. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was pans. This is a cast iron skillet. You have to have one. Every household should have a cast iron skillet. It's the most amazing thing. It cooks everything so beautifully. It's very durable. This is, I believe, a 12-inch one. You can get one in a 10-inch if you don't have a big family. It is something that you will reach for. A lot of times recipes now will call for a cast iron skillet, and young girls are going like, what's a cast iron skillet? I just bought a pan at Target. I'm just gonna tell you really quickly my theory on these things. I know sometimes you guys can't afford like better quality kind of pans, but if you can save up and get those, that would be one of the first things I would tell you as a newlywed or a new single girl. Get some good knives and good pans. So you're always going to need a cast iron skillet for certain types of cooking, this one in particular, and you'll see why. Other times you're going to use something, I'll just show you the little one. These are non-abrasive pans, and these are great for non-stick. So any of these pans, like you would cook your eggs in these kind of pans because they won't stick. You wouldn't necessarily cook eggs in a cast iron skillet because it may stick on the bottom, especially if you're a new cook. Also, one other pan that I would recommend is a stainless steel pan. So that's just a little tip for you guys if you really want to invest in pans and know what kinds to get. I would recommend getting at least like a non-stick pan and a cast iron skillet. I think those two in combination would be perfect. And also just different sizes, a 10-inch, a 12-inch, and everyone needs a pasta pot. Get yourself a pasta pan, big, deep one. Really good. One other thing I would get if you like to make stews is get a Dutch oven. So all those things you could like find on Amazon. I love Pampered Chef. There's just different things and different values to each one, but try not to just go get the cheapest pan at the store because it's not going to last long and it's not going to cook as well. And you guys want to be good cooks. So we're just going to let this cook for 1 more minute. One of the things I like to do is I just set timers if I'm cooking a lot of things in the kitchen or I have a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to have to guess like, oh shoot, how many minutes was it? Just, you know, use a timer. You can do your phone. I have a little timer that's almost breaking down because I use it all the time. But don't be afraid to use those kind of things to help you in the kitchen. You don't have to pretend like you're an expert and you just have to have it all together. Use the things that are around you to help you stay calm and not panic in the kitchen when you think you have a couple different things going on at the same time and you can't remember, was this cooking for 3 minutes already, or has it been time, should I flip it? I just have my little handy dandy timer here. So I have about 10 more seconds, so I'm going to shut that off. I'm going to flip these over and see, actually I can let that sit for a little bit longer, but see how it's getting nice and crispy right here? I'm going to let those go for just a little bit longer so that they get that nice crispy edge to them. And then we'll be ready after the next 3 minutes of this. Then we're going to take these out and make a cool almond lemon sauce. Okay, so you can see that these are nice and brown and ready to go. One thing I wanted to tell, well, two things actually. I forgot to put salt on the chicken before I dredged them. So see, even I make mistakes. So I just threw some salt on them before we put them in the pan. So I wanted to make that little note for you guys is salt your chicken before you start dredging them in the flour mixture. Whoopsies. And then two, cast iron skillets are awesome, but they get hot all the way to the bottom. I have my fire off, don't do this with the fire on, but I have just a towel that I move it over to do what I need to do here, which is we're gonna take these off the pan and put these on a plate for now because we're gonna make our sauce. So just make sure you have mitts or something close by when you're using a cast iron skillet. There was a rule of thumb when we sold Pampered Chef, we said you're either a cutter or a burner. Sometimes you're both, but you're usually more one or the other. I'm a burner. I would always just grab a hot pan or put my hand in the oven and touch the sides during my shows and be like, it's fine, I'm great, don't worry about it. And then I'd go home and be like, oh, there's another burn mark. So we would have war stories in Pampered Chef of who cut what and who burned themselves during a show. So it does happen, and you know, it's one of those things. So we are now going to add some more butter to, where is my butter? Hold one moment.
Who ate Mom's butter for the recipe? Was it you? Or was it you? I think it was Lola. I think it was little Lola.
We need to wipe the skillet out so that there's no leftover. It's actually called fond, which is really good in some particular recipes. You do want to mix this in with the sauce, but this particular one we don't. So we're just going to clean this out with a paper towel really quick so that we can start fresh with our sauce. So now we're going to add in 4 tablespoons of butter. Scooch this other one out. Lots of butter going on in this house. Okay, so we are going to mix this up. Let me turn my pan back on, and we're gonna not have it too high because we don't want this burning. So we're gonna add this. Okay, so real quickly, we're just gonna melt this butter up. This is a real quick ending to this. This is an awesome meal to cook. If you're in a hurry at night and you have chicken tenders in the fridge and you're like, what do I do with chicken? Chicken tenders are great because they're small, but if you bought a chicken breast, just slice it in half and cut it in pieces, and that's chicken tenders. So don't get too technical like, oh, I don't have chicken tenders, I only have chicken breast. You can make chicken tenders out of chicken breast too. This recipe, actually, I'm showing you step by step. It would probably take you at least less than 30 minutes to make, and it is delicious. So now we're gonna add sliced almonds, about a half a cup, and we're just going to dredge these and get them all buttery goodness, because who doesn't love butter? And just let that cook for about 30 seconds, and I'm gonna turn the heat up. And the dogs are barking. This is done. I turned the heat off, and we're just gonna squeeze some fresh lemon. Yum. Again, we need smell-o-vision. I'm gonna do a little bit more. And normally you just cut a lemon in half and put this in here, but my lemons are huge, so I had to quarter them, so that worked that way. Again, improvising, it's everything. All right, so this is done, and we are gonna pour this over the chicken, and I am gonna get my mitts, 2 hands for this, and I do not want to burn myself. So, and you can see there's a little pour spout on these cast iron skillets, which is so cool. And then I'm gonna have to scrape out the almonds. And we'll just scoop these out and drizzle those over the top, which is so pretty, but we're not done yet. We're going to add a little bit over here. Just for good measure, we're gonna do one little squeeze, and we're gonna sprinkle some parsley for color. Color in a recipe is everything. If you just put this on the table, just blah, it would taste great and it would look good, but make your food colorful. Don't be afraid to use color. You don't want to put all beige things on the table. So if you did this and some cauliflower, it'd be like, it doesn't look as appetizing, and then if you have little ones, they're gonna be like, what is that? I don't wanna eat that. But if you put color and flavor into it, they're always gonna eat it. So I hope you enjoy. Joanna Gaines for this wonderful almond chicken recipe, even though I changed it up just a little bit. I love your recipes and I love you. Stay tuned for next week because we are gonna be making Joanna Gaines's lemon bars, and I have a lemon tree that these babies come off of, and they're delicious.